Taylor Swift has finally released her 10-minute version of All Too Well, plus the whole Red Taylor's Version album and a short film. It's a lot, so let's break it down. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and man, has it been a long time since I have put on my Taylor Swift decoding cap. I am very excited because Red is my favorite Taylor Swift album, and now that her new version is here, it's kind of like a national holiday, right? I even broke out my red blanket for this, and of course, you know, it doesn't say Taylor's version, but it'll do. I'm gonna be snuggling with this all weekend. But, like I said, decoding, it's a thing. It happens all the time. I also apologize for the mess. I'm in the middle of a move. I haven't fully set up the studio yet. The lighting's whack. The sound might be whack. I don't know, but we're getting there, so thanks for bearing with me through this video. Okay, so like I said, this is a big week. The album dropped. Taylor did some interviews. She put out a short film for All Too Well 10-minute version. She's performing on SNL, and of course, people are wondering if Jake Gyllenhaal is okay. Now, as with any Taylor Swift release, we all go into detective mode to decode any little Easter egg we can think of and that we think we can find, and Taylor also encourages this. She's been on TikTok commenting on people's theories videos, all kinds of things. But essentially, the lyrics to the All Too Well 10-minute version further confirm what we actually already knew about this Jake Gyllenhaal relationship, but also giving us a little bit more insight into why they broke up and all that. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the lyrics, the short film, and whatever Easter eggs we can find in this quest. First though, Taylor does not let us rest. It already seems like she's hinting at which of her discography may be the next release, and drumroll, that's a horrible drum roll, but all signs seem to be pointing to 1989. Why, you ask? Well, the All Too Well short film, we see Sadie and Dylan driving around in a 1989 Mercedes-Benz, and, well, obviously 1989. Taylor even confirmed this Easter egg herself.
The car at the end of the video is a 1989.
Yeah,
is that maybe
obviously it is.
Yeah, is that, obviously,
You know
right?
me now.
She also made a Wonderland reference on her Tonight Show appearance. You know, Wonderland, an amazing song from 1989.
If you want to go down a rabbit hole with us,
Well,
jump in. We're all mad here.
Exactly.
Also, her outfit in that Tonight Show appearance definitely kind of reminded me of this outfit she wore on the 1989 tour, but that might be me stretching a bit there. Maybe because that's the one I want next. But now, let's dive into decoding the All Too Well song and video. Now, when Taylor dated Jake Gyllenhaal, she was around 20, 21, he was 29, 30. There's about a 9-year age difference, which is showcased kind of in the casting of this short film. We have Sadie Sink, who is 19, and Dylan O'Brien, who is 30. Yes, that is a bit of a bigger age difference, but the meaning behind it and the symbolization is there. Plus, casting Sadie, she still looks even younger than 19, which just kind of hits home the message even harder about how big this age difference was. Now, the short film opens with a quote from Pablo Neruda. Now, Taylor referenced this same quote in the liner notes to her original Red album. It's also definitely an influence in the line in the song I Bet You Think About Me, where she says, "I'm harder to forget than I was to leave." Now, we obviously have Sadie here playing kind of a young Taylor, or maybe we see Taylor at the end and she's obviously playing an older Sadie. Depends on how you want to look at it. But overall, this whole video is a reference to a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, and I will get to that towards the end of this video. If you want a hint, I actually have the movie poster here. I guess it's not really a hint if I'm showing it to you, but if you know this movie poster, I'm not showing you the title yet, but stay tuned, we'll talk about this a little more. But going into this video, obviously, what happens in this short film very much echoes all the narrative of the lyrics. Now we have Sadie entering the house. She's obviously wearing the infamous red scarf, which she leaves on the banister. Now also in the shot, there is a stained glass window which has a crest on it. Now it's a little hard to tell exactly what it is, but it sort of reminds me of Taylor's crest that she's been using, I think, ever since the Lover era. Maybe it was before that, but you know, the one with the snake and the cats in it and the butterfly. But this actually is a simpler one. It's very hard to tell, but it could be like one cat instead of 3, because back in 2011, Taylor only had the one cat, Meredith. There would be really no snake because the Reputation era hasn't happened, so maybe this crest is supposed to represent kind of the earlier version of the Taylor crest that we see now, that she's used multiple times in like the Lover music video, on the vault that she has where she releases the scramble for the vault tracks, all that. But who knows? It also kind of looks like a 13 on that crest, but I don't know. I could be reading too much into that. So moving on. We have Dylan's character, which this is great casting because with the facial hair, the short hair, Dylan does very much look like Jake Gyllenhaal in that era, and his wardrobe throughout this whole video also is very reminiscent of that. We have all the plaid shirts, the gray t-shirts, the beanies. Obviously, yes, this is kind of a basic guy's wardrobe, but like I said, all of it together with Jake and just the feel, it definitely is like Jake during the Red era. Some even think these shots of Sadie and Dylan, you know, on their little date in the wilderness and how she's hanging on his back and everything looks like Taylor and Jake's paparazzi photos in Brooklyn. Now, when Dylan and Sadie are by the lake, we see them sharing headphones, listening to something, which kind of makes me think of the lyrics of We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, where she says that, you know, he'd hide away and find his peace of mind with some indie record that's much cooler than hers. You know, that line, so maybe that's kind of a hint of them sharing music. Also, you know, maybe it's a reference to Mine. You know, they're sitting by the water there together. Either way, let's move on. In the next chapter, we get another glimpse at how young Taylor was in this relationship, because at this dinner party, as Dylan and his friends are laughing around the table, they're drinking wine. Pretty much all the glasses are empty, but Sadie's glass is full, as she was not 21 here. We also see a change in appearance for Sadie's character. Now, when Sadie and Dylan were alone, she was kind of dressed more her age, fun, youthful, but around his friends, you can see she's trying to change her appearance. She's trying to look very much older, and she also has classic Taylor older look with the red lips and the black shirt. Now, in the scene after yet another breakup and fight, Sadie runs to a red typewriter and starts typing, crumbles up the piece of paper, kind of foreshadows, well, the song and the ending of the music video. Then, at the party scene where we see an older Sadie kind of with her champagne glass looking around, kind of like what's going on, no one's talking to her, she's by herself. This could hint at the song Champagne Problems, and you know, that song references the whole dropping of the hand and stuff, which we see in the dinner scene of this music video, as well as it's a talking point of their big fight. Then we get to the part where Dylan meets Sadie's dad. Now, Sadie's dad here is played by Shawn Levy, who is the executive producer and director of many things that you've probably seen, like Cheaper by the Dozen and such, but notably here, Stranger Things with Sadie and the internship that Dylan starred in, so there's a fun connection there. We get some cute pictures of Sadie as a kid in the backdrop, but also we see that Shawn Levy uses a mug with a bowling ball and a pin on it. I guess it's just kind of a dad mug because the other two have nondescript mugs. I don't know if there's a significance in there. I could stretch this and be like it's a nod to Selena Gomez, who we know Taylor loves to give nods to, because they used to hang out and go bowling a lot back in the day, but you know what, guys, it's hot in here. I think I'm getting delirious from trying to look at this video in so many different ways that I'm just making stuff up now. But there's also some chocolate chip cookies on the table, and we know Taylor loves to bake. But now we move on to the birthday party scene, which is obviously representing Taylor's 21st birthday, which we know from All Too Well and the song The Moment I Knew was a hard moment for her, and Jake ditched her on her birthday. Now, if you look in the credits of this video, this scene, all the guests, they are played by Shawn Levy's kids as well as Sadie's brother. And now the locket that we see Sadie wear here is the same locket that we see hanging from the car, as well as it's used in the Run lyric video, which is this locket is also now being sold on Taylor's website. Now, we move on to the reeling portion, and in this portion we see Sadie wearing the same shirt that Dylan wore earlier in the video. Now, when the song talks about being paralyzed, we see a shot of Sadie that some have pointed out reminds them a lot of the White Horse music video, as well as other scenes from this music video like the playing cards and the holding hands and being all cute stuff. Then, moving on, we flash ahead 13 years, which we all know that 13 is Taylor's favorite number. Taylor now plays the older version of Sadie's character. I guess you could say Sadie's the younger version of Taylor's character, however you want to look at it. But there's a line in the song where Taylor says, "I'll get older, but your lovers stay my age." Now this definitely describes the women that Jake Gyllenhaal has dated. I mean, his current girlfriend is like 25 and he's 40. Now in this house that we see Taylor in, we see the same red typewriter that was on her desk from the earlier time, but this time the paper's not crumpled up, and we see why. Because she has put all her thoughts and, emotions from this relationship into a book. And we see this blue book that she goes on and does a signing and a reading for, and the image of this book is a tree with a scarf on it. It's very similar to an image that appeared in the lyric video for All Too Well. Plus, this blue book is now being sold on Taylor's site as a journal, and in Taylor's TikTok recreating her Tumblr post about fall, you can see she was writing in a book which had kind of a blue cover, which very much looks like this book. Very sneaky. Then we see that standing outside the door of her signing and reading is Dylan's character, but older, still wearing the scarf, kind of like he's haunted by this relationship. He hasn't been able to forget it. And here's the funny thing. Older Dylan in this scene is not actually Dylan. It's not credited as Dylan O'Brien, but as somebody named Jake Lyon, which is kind of funny because, well, same first name as Jake Gyllenhaal. Plus, we learned from the fight scenes that a lot of lying and gaslighting happened in this relationship, and Jake Lyon just kind of sounds like Jake lying. Lying, get it? Jake lying. But Jake Lyon is actually a real person, because if you keep watching the full credits, you'll see he's actually a crew member, a gaffer who worked on this music video and has worked on other projects like the OA and Everything Sucks. But it's kind of a funny nod there. Now, we won't know for sure unless we really ask Taylor herself, maybe, or someone involved in the production, if Dylan wasn't used for this scene just because all his scenes were with Sadie and maybe they didn't film Taylor's scenes in the same town, or maybe he wasn't available that day, or if it was done on purpose just to put the name Jake there in the credits. Okay, but now for kind of one of the biggest Easter eggs of all, I guess you could call it that. I referenced it at the beginning. If you think about it, this whole video is like a gender-swapped, less bloody, violent, sexual version of a movie called, let me get it, it's called Nocturnal Animals. Now, this was a film by Tom Ford that starred none other than, well, let's see, Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams. Now, if you're wondering what the similarities are, let's talk about what this movie is about. So in the movie, Amy Adams plays a gallery owner who is haunted by her ex-husband's novel, in which he interprets as a revenge tale about their relationship. Now, the movie itself is pretty bloody, sexual, and all that intense. In All Too Well, the short film, we see the roles from the movie reversed. We have Sadie and Taylor. They both have red hair in the video, which looks very similar to Amy in the movie, along with the black outfits. This time, though, it's the female character that is the one writing the revenge novel of sorts. Now, it's not obviously the same kind of revenge movie, but it's a book about a relationship, and we see the man, in this case, sort of being haunted by it as he stands outside of the book signing, and he still has the scar from the relationship. So yeah, just another Easter egg there, further proof about who the song and the album are about, which we already kind of knew. But there's another hint here. In the movie Nocturnal Animals, they also use the same kind of Mercedes as well. But still, such a fun way for Taylor to do this video. Now, as you know, trying to decode anything with Taylor Swift needs to be done in doses. It's kind of overwhelming, and you're not going to see all the Easter eggs at first glance, so I am sure there are a ton that I maybe missed or forgot about or interpreted differently than you. I think I saw someone say that there's a Wonderstruck bottle somewhere around 10 minutes and 10 seconds into this music video, but then I went back and looked and I didn't see it. It just looked like it was a thing holding makeup brushes, so maybe I'm blind, I missed it. I got some thick glasses. But either way, let me know down in the comments what Easter eggs you saw, which ones I missed, and your whole thoughts on Red Taylor's version. Which of these bonus tracks or songs in general were your favorite? Don't include All Too Well 10-minute version because I know that's so many favorites. I want to know what your other favorite is. Also, I loved Sadie and Dylan in this music video. I'm a big fan of Dylan O'Brien. I've done some interviews with him. He's always so nice, and I love when she uses familiar faces in these videos. So what celebs would you love to see in her next video? Also, are you thinking that 1989 is the next Taylor's version to come out? What do you think? Let me know all your thoughts, theories, and everything else down below. And after that, be sure to hit that subscribe button, the like button, and also check out more of my cool videos right over here. There's some old interviews with Dylan I'll throw up over here, or some decoding video that's really old that I don't even know if it makes sense anymore. But check those out. My name's Lisa. Thanks for hanging out with me and listening to me ramble. I'm always hanging out here. I'll see you next time.